Thank you for listening and welcome to the Life Podcast, a proud member of the Eventide Entertainment Podcast Network. I'm your host, Don Smith. Jess Cordry is our guest co-host, and Adrian Miller talks about wombats and comedy. Holly Shock's Facebook suspects anti-puppy hate speech. If you enjoy the show, like and follow the Life 1069 on Facebook and Don Smith Comedy on Twitter, or tune in live on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can stream the show live at wwsu1069.org.
The brutal presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.
All right, well, keep singing. You're on the air now. You didn't even get a warning, did you? Welcome back to the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith, sitting in with my my guest co-host, Jess Cordry.
Good morning, everybody.
He has moved further away from the ashes. And we've kicked Trey Shuttleworth out, and he has been replaced by Adrian Miller.
Hello.
And Holly Shock.
Hi, everybody.
And you guys don't know this. This is the last Wednesday live broadcast of the Life Radio Show.
Dun, dun, dun.
Do we get to take anything home with us?
Well, you can take the mixing board if you want.
Oh, no, I want something.
Well, no, we'll be back next week on Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. because I'm quitting my job tonight. This is my last night as a second shift
neurosurgeon.
Oh, okay. Yes. So from now on, all of my brain surgeries will be done in the morning. So we'll be covered then, everybody, and then I get to do this fantastic stuff in the evenings.
Oh, that's good. Like you deserve to do it.
But we'll still be rebroadcast on Wednesdays from noon to 2 through the summer.
Oh.
So I'm going to record Tuesday night, rebroadcast it Wednesday, so that people that listen at this time. Both of you can continue to listen.
Okay.
So yeah, it's exciting. It's all these things happening. Yeah,
it's very Doc Brown of you.
Yes.
There are 2 listeners right now.
Well, there are 3 of you.
Yeah.
So there are 4
okay.
people. There are 4 people right now listening to what's being said in this studio.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
that's it.
That's more than my imaginary friends. So
because there aren't a whole lot of people in school right now because it's finals week and everybody's had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally. So what's been happening with you, Adrian? It's been a little while since you've been... I'm going to put you on the spot first.
Sure.
It's been a little while since you've been in.
Sure. I've been working on the Wimity podcast.
I was wondering how that was pronounced because I was thinking Womity, Womity. That sounds like something Holly should have said, actually.
Womity. It's Womity podcast is my other podcast. It's about wombats. And
wombat, because we've been missing wombat podcasts.
It's a niche that just hasn't been explored.
Do you know that wombats poop square?
Do they?
Oh, do
Yes.
they?
That is a little known fact.
Wow.
Square.
They poop square. You can look that up on the computer thingamajig you got there. But Google it. Wombats poop squares.
How about deep dish?
What? How?
It's because they get so constipated that it just holds in there and forms like a square, and when they drop it, it's pooped in a square form. Check it up, all you listeners.
Those are like sharp edges, or because that would hurt.
It's 90s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So if you're walking through the woods and you think you saw a pile of fudge on the ground, don't eat it.
Yes.
Well, any animal that poops in squares deserves a podcast.
Agreed.
Exactly. And these are just one of the many exciting facts that we will explore on the Womity podcast.
Now, do you actually have wombats as guests?
I mean, that would be very exciting if we could land them. I mean, their schedules are so busy.
That is true.
And starting out, you have such a low viewership. But if we could get the numbers, guys, we can make it happen.
That's well, yeah, because they're not going to come in just.
No, they're not going to fly. They're not going to fly in
Unless
from Australia
some,
for 2 viewers.
Right.
And it'd be
or
really
listeners,
hard.
I should say.
And the best thing is if you can get Wombat Man.
Oh, there's Wombat Man.
I'm Wombat Man.
Well, I will tell you that my guest co-host has just Googled wombat poop, And
It's the world must know.
they do poop cube shaped. So that is, I really like how this title down here says the wombat's cubic poop is one of nature's weirdest superpowers. That's what it is, superpower.
Which brings us once again to Wombatman and what his powers would be. Clearly,
right. Apparently, one of his major powers
is forming excrement into cubes.
Right. Because you never know when that skill is going to be there for crime fighting.
It's a little-known character of the Justice League.
Wombat Man.
It's like Aquaman, except it's even
not extremely useful.
More specific.
Let me throw me wombat poop at him.
Yeah. Well, no, it's square, so it's cubic. You can build things with it.
Who needs a wall, mate?
Wombat cave. Yeah,
right.
Wombat Man cave.
Yeah. The Wombat Cave.
Wow, this really went interesting.
Yeah. So tell us about Womedy and Womedy or
Womedy or Womedy or whatever. It's a work in progress.
Even the pronunciation's a work in progress.
Yeah. I mean, the thing right now is, we're just interviewing people. But one thing I've really been thinking about is expanding out. I mean, on the social media, I post about as a woman in comedy, you read things, you're always watching things. And so things that I think might be useful to other women. So I just read a great book this week that I'll be hopefully posting later today called Trainwreck, which is really interesting. It kind of was inspired by, I've noticed, people really like to go after women and minorities when they mess up. Sorry to go serious, but after all this wombat talk, see, that's why I need a wombity, because I need something lighter to balance out these more serious, weighty topics.
Because just I want to clarify for our listener.
One listener.
We
love you,
it
listener.
actually isn't a podcast about wombats.
No.
It's about women in comedy.
It's about women in comedy.
Yeah.
And when I started out, I kind of was like, comedians, it'll be funny. There'll be serious things. It'll be funny. But, one of the things I find is when you ask women about their journey and about, how comedians are once they're off the stage. They're always the life of the party. And they're such full of joy, and there's no darkness or anything serious. But you really do start talking about, things that are more, more concerning. I mean, we do touch on that a little bit and how do you handle it? And this book I read it because it's just it's the kind of thing I realized I'm not scared of not making it. That's not the thing that keeps me up at night. I'm okay with that. What kept me from doing comedy for a long time and really scared me, and when you talk to other women, is the fear that I will get attention. If that makes any sense. That I will get attention, and then people will start looking through your social media feed. They'll start live streaming things
start
and
analyzing you.
Yeah,
start picking away at you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And there is evidence that people tend to, especially with women and minorities, they tend to be much harder on them and just kind of go attack dog. And the weird thing is, with women are actually the biggest instigators of doing that. It's women policing other women. And so it's scary because it's I'm a woman. I notice when I look in the crowd, the people most interested in what I have to say are women. And yet at the same time, they could be the ones who tear me to pieces, ultimately. And the thing is, it's also what the other side is, that the people most likely to tear other people to pieces are comedians. And so it's you might also be the problem too, making things worse. So it's sort of a weird thing where, every time you go into tearing down a woman, saying, oh, this public figure, what a whore she is, and making jokes about it, you really have to stop and think that sword cuts both ways.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a lot to think about. And it didn't really have a lot of hopeful answers. In fact, it said we've actually turned our attention away from celebrities and people, at least that we can say you can comfort yourself in your pool of money, to people who are more ordinary. I just saw the other day, there was a girl who posted that's blown up. She went to prom and she wore a Chinese style dress and just torn to shred. Just a girl wearing a China, which you can, yes, there's a whole, it's a good discussion to have about cultural appropriation, but it's she's not a celebrity.
Right.
She's a high school girl. She's like
Well,
17,
with
18.
With the just the proliferation of social media in our lives, it just seems like people that aren't celebrities are still able to get that kind of not just attention but abuse almost.
Yeah, and she didn't
Because
have a lot of
it's- yeah.
attention before this until someone picked it up. And it's just like, it's almost kind of like, and that's what that got me on this, is I noticed with like Coachella and stuff, is like if a girl wears the wrong accessory, we're just like attack dog. A dude has to be like a whole frat decided to dress in blackface. Like something horrific before people start going in and saying, F those guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of scary. There's this latent hatred, and there's sort of like you have to be perfect or get off the effing stage, you know? And it's just the fact that we kind of resent women putting themselves forward. But then add in any other minority identity, and it's like, you know, sorry to bring it down.
No,
I know
no,
you want to
no,
be
that's-
a happy. We can go back to
Since
wombats
when?
if that helps.
No, I love good discussions on the show. We just had an hour of silliness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's always good because you're speaking from a perspective that I can't speak to.
Well, but we're all comedians, and guys these
Except for
days
that
are.
respect.
That's a
Well,
loose
But,
saying
but
on
they're
my
I
afraid.
can
They're afraid
barely-
of the same thing. Like, why is there this thing of like we want to build people up and then just tear them down, or how this joy that there seems to be in the society now of like tearing people to shreds. It's even beyond like we need to address things and talk about things where it's almost like we want to see blood. Like it's like it feels like the French Revolution of like
Right.
people just lining up with their guillotine, you know, toys and stuff and earrings and being like, yes! And women were the biggest, actually, the biggest fans of the guillotine. They actually had jewelry and shirts and everything. Anyway.
Wow.
How do you think that affects people like young comics that are bashed like that? I mean, on social media, because that wasn't real big when I was growing up doing comedy. I mean, how do they react to it? Do they, how do you react to it?
I mean, I'm not super young, so I'm a older millennial, so I'm in the same boat. Like when I was coming of age, I mean, it was like, I graduated from high school in 2000. So we didn't have social media even at that point. It would be like message boards and, stuff would still go down. But, it's not quite where stuff is completely tied to your identity forever. And like, I don't know. That's what I wonder. I mean, I think a lot of what I see is young people are pretty ignorant and innocent. And I think they don't think about it until it happens to them or someone they know. And then they're like, what did I just say? Or what did I just do? And I notice a lot of people, that's, I think, why they're not on Facebook as much anymore and stuff that's very public. It tends to be more private networks and until they feel ready to say something. But I do wonder if it does discourage people because now it's like I know for myself that reason I didn't do stand-up for a long time was I was like, maybe I want to get a real job someday, Yeah. And then people are going to look through my Facebook and stuff's going to be there. And what if I do, I'm just up on stage trying some stuff out and something comes out that for whatever reason, they're like, we don't want to be associated with that. And again, as a woman, the bar's higher especially because there's a tendency if women are very vocal, research has found they're seen as pushy and unpleasant. And, I don't want to work with her, where a guy's like, wow, he's really assertive and he's confident.
Yeah, I'm 1,000%
standard.
certain if there was social media when I was starting out in comedy, I would not be employable and I would probably be arrested.
I have the 60s with me. I got the 60s, our 60s social media was the movie Woodstock. See that naked lady running through the pond over there? That's Grandma.
And it didn't have her tagged, right? So everyone in all her family could be like, oh, look, what's Susie's doing this weekend?
Oh, God. Yeah, you're exactly right on that stuff. And it's funny because, like you say, you're still young. You're, later millennial. I'm at the point now where, I'll be 65 in a couple months. And it's okay. I don't care what the social media says about me anymore. I've heard enough stuff since, my teens, but yeah, what you're saying is very true, very true.
All right.
Oh, I like puppies.
So we're going to post this all over social media and
exactly.
tag everybody. And
I've tried never to associate any job I've had with my social media for the reason that, and I'm careful what I post anyway most of the time, but I make comments every now and then. But I try to be careful what I post, except when, of course, when I put the podcast up.
Oh.
They can listen to that and think, nope, he's fired right now.
And I was wondering what the hell I did wrong the other day when I was looking on Facebook, and it goes, did you think this was a hate thing or whatever it was that they had that bloop on Facebook where they thought everything was a hate message? And I was kind of like, yeah, it said like, I a lot of my statements, it goes, do you think this was a hate message? Yes or no? And then it said today on Facebook it was a glitch.
No, I wasn't on there. I didn't see it.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, a lot of mine said, I go, hate message, I like puppies. No, it's not a hate message,
Yep.
I love wombats. Is this a hate message?
Yeah. What do you mean by wombat?
Nobody loves wombats.
Yeah. Is it the cubic poop? Is that what? Is that the whole thing with the wombat love?
I make a cool necklace. Wombat love.
Yeah. They're just like preemptively
preemptively
tagged hate message.
It is.
Muskrat love. That's the song I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So Wombat Love. We can go there too. Cubic Poop. That's another good band name. That's an emo band right there.
Exactly. And it should be a tagline for the show.
That sounds like
Write it down.
That's the title for the show. No,
that's Cubic Poop sounds like something Stephen Hawking would come up to after smoking a real fat one.
Oh, I don't even know where to go after that.
Well, you go to the bathroom if you got cube. I don't know. I probably not flushed out of the toilet.
Yeah, well, it's like cubicle poop, I guess.
I can say, with social media, I have been aware more because I'm a working professional. I know you can't tell by the way I dress.
So we know that.
Right.
But I never include any of my work, and all my stuff's on private. So, because my act is vile and disgusting and crude by any stretch of the imagination.
We know.
I mean, yeah, truckers blush when they come to see me do stand-up. But, yeah, that's bad. But I've always been able to just keep that part private. They don't know that I'm going into a whole separate character, that I'm not really that. But again, I can see where I've gotten some leeway for it, where maybe a woman wouldn't be able to be determined as something different. So that is an interesting perspective, and I appreciate you sharing that. Sorry to get serious.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We've
I almost want to ask, and now that I'm more woke or whatever in my baby white girl way, again, and because I'm not super young, I'm older than people tell me they think I am.
Hello, baby.
But the thing is, I come from a less woke time, and I always think I have specific things on my social media that I'm afraid people will find and attack. You know what I mean? Are there things that you're like, oh yeah, I kind of was too open at one point, or, I almost want to ask people what they have that would be like, oh, good dear God, I hope nobody finds it. But you don't want to find it, so you wouldn't share it. So, catch-22.
Pictures of bowel movements. I think you got a caller.
Yeah, we have a call coming in. So let's see who we got here. Let's see if we can get more serious on the show.
Okay, perfect.
This is The Life. You're on the air.
Hi, sir. How are you today?
All right.
Good. Hey, I just want you to know that listening to you and Jess Corder has been really great today, and enjoying the
must
the
be
message.
A friend of yours.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
That's my guess.
I am listening out of state Pennsylvania. I want to point that out.
Oh, okay.
And I'm a big fan of Jess Corder. My name's Philip. I served with him in Iraq, but you know what? Knowledgeable guy, and just listen. Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, brother?
I'm good, man. Good. I was fighting to get you on, trying to get you. I finally was able to listen to you a little, so
cool.
I apologize. But I used an app to find you, luckily. But hey, I just wanted to say I was listening to it, and very informative.
Thank you very much. Hope you continue to listen, brother. And thanks for helping me move earlier last year.
Oh, yeah. Hey, someone's got to be a team player around here.
Any questions for anyone on here?
No. I just was listening to a lot of information I didn't really know. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you saying so, because this show is normally not very informative. So,
I wouldn't know. But hey, if you're telling me that, why would you lie to me?
It's a lot of fun though. But when every now and then we get informative.
Well, thank you, sir. Hey, thank you. Hey, listen, you all take care. Have a good day.
Yep, you too. Thanks a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good. Yay.
Well, there you go.
We have a live one.
Yeah.
I wonder if cubic poop is like registered. If you could like, this is a cubic
mean-
poop production.
What, registered like a firearm or?
Trademark. Patent.
Okay.
Oh, you heard it here. Holly
Like a
is
band
going
name,
to
yeah.
register trademark cubic poop.
Yeah.
registered.
So we can't take it anymore.
I would hurry before somebody else does. I would hurry and register cubicpoop.com.
Did you register that word floppiniffle or whatever it was the last time?
Frubbing? What
Rubbing
is that
frog.
word?
Flub and rub or something.
Yeah,
I feel like-
I can't.
Fropping? Roping? It's not what...
Yeah, I can't remember. I
flopping
can't
nipple.
remember.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, there's the there goes the informative
Yes.
part of the show. It's done.
Well, hey,
now.
I mean, or business idea. I think Holly has a great business idea here. Is just come on the show, take riffs, and then sit on the domain names and trademark them.
Yeah,
Just put them out there. Like, no, this is a great idea. And then when someone takes it, it's like,
Yeah,
hey, up,
sucker.
$600.
Yeah, that's that is a good idea. Yeah.
Oh, God, I had a good idea. This is going bad.
Yeah.
Something's
Yep.
going wrong.
All right. Well, we're going to take a little break. I
Hi,
think I'm going to play. What did I queue up? A little Saint Mary, Saint Michael. We'll go mellow.
Ooh.
We'll go mellow right now.
Ooh.
So this is a song called Blue 52, which has an interesting backstory that I'm not going to tell you about.
Well, I-
'Cause we're just going to play the song. So we will be. Thank you, Holly. We'll be back here shortly.
Standing in the middle of yet another crowd, I feel my eyes get heavy and all I want is sleep. Looking on a sea of empty faces filled with hopes and fears. The table shifting round louder than I care. Are you there? Can you hear me? Are you there at all? Along the current, I scream my silent question. No one seems to notice, and I just want to feel the fingerprints of warm hands, knowing that you hear me. You listen to my story and help me carry on. Are you there? Can you hear me? Are you there at all? Are you there? Can you hear me? Are you there at all? just need to know. Are you there? Can you hear me? Are you there at all? Are you there? Can you hear me? Are you there at all?
Wow.
All right. Every now and then a song just comes to an abrupt end. I wasn't expecting that because it still had like time left on the indicator up here. But we're back on the Life Radio show.
Just
in
keeping
case
with
you
the theme of
wondered
the
who
show.
just randomly came up and talked about a song ending abruptly.
Unexpected
Random
things.
Sally.
Unexpected things. This is the Life Radio show. I'm your host, Don Smith, sitting in with my guest co-host, Jess Cordry, and Adrian Miller
Yep.
and Holly Schock are in the studio with us. And so far, it's been a barrel of laughs. No,
Yep.
Oh, no.
it's always great. And every now and then, we could do with some intelligent discussion because we don't get that often.
Yeah.
But I was going to tell you, Holly, that the house next door to me finally sold.
Aw.
Yeah, and I saw the sold sign on there the other day, and I was thinking, man, that'd be cool if Holly bought it.
Oh, God,
But
that
it wasn't you. It would have been a riot
Yeah, I was looking at the house next to it. Next to his.
because that neighborhood's
been
always
extra
been
tough.
really stuffy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like the wild one of that neighborhood. I'm the hated neighbor.
Oh.
My house is the bad. It's the wrong side of the neighborhood.
Is it 1313 Mockingbird Lane?
Yeah.
Well, you're flinging poo at one neighbor. I mean, you know, you're not going to be considered the good neighbor for that.
Well, that's because he was a jerk. He deserved every turd that slapped up on the side of his white vinyl siding. So,
Wow, that's my favorite country song.
deserving every turd is it? Yep. If I'd have had a wombat, it would have been cubic poop and might have been worth something to him. But
Wombat and a slingshot.
yeah,
That could be a kid's game.
yeah. The title of this episode is definitely going to be cubic poop. That way, it'll disguise the serious discussion we can have.
Sometimes you just got to slip it in there.
So, oh man,
She said that, folks.
My virgin ears. Or somewhere.
on the verge of what? All right, should we hit some news stories or?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Let's hit a few news stories, and I got to end the show early because I got a bunch of recording and swapping to do, and I got to be at work tonight for my final evening. So looking forward to that. See, I even brought all my uniforms, everything back in with me. I'm going to leave in my underwear, and I don't have to come back in again. All right. I'm not leaving here.
Thank
in my
you for all
underwear,
that
you know.
information.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that.
He's sitting on underwear right now, folks, on the radio.
exactly. Right on the radio.
Right on the radio.
Yeah. Right, I'm on the mixing board in my underwear.
Cubic.
Yeah. You say cubic poop stain? Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Radio, news.
I don't even want to. Florida authorities went to a funeral home and used a dead man's finger to try to unlock his cell phone as part of their investigation. 30-year-old Linus Phillip was killed by a Largo police officer last month after authorities say he tried to drive away before an officer could search him. Well, this is kind of a dark story. Why did I put this on here?
Yeah.
At the funeral home, two detectives held the man's hand up to the phone's fingerprint sensor, but could not unlock it. Phillips' fiancée, Victoria Armstrong, says she felt violated and disrespected. Legal experts mostly agree what the detectives did was legal, but they question whether it was appropriate.
Would you have to have
Wow.
body heat
I would think
Yeah,
so.
I
I
think
think that's the
you have to-
problem, and that's just
Yeah.
yeah.
on the finger?
Well, physics. That's tends to escape
Well,
your average
Your average Florida cop.
your average Florida cop physics, because why else would they have to shoot and kill somebody for just driving away? Because I really don't think driving away is really a killable offense.
No.
But that
Smack
tends
was
to,
silly, but-
yeah. I mean, unless there was an officer under the car.
You know,
Which-
and you can use a different finger if they just use the index. I mean, what that finger is called. You
Pointer?
know, yeah, the pointer finger.
Index finger. Yeah.
And you can use
term.
any finger on your phone, so they might have just went, "Hey, it's not working." I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe they used the middle finger.
Yeah.
That'd get something going.
That,
I mean,
that
maybe
could
he
have
was
been,
really
yeah.
clever with his security and did like a, or I remember when they came out with the finger thing, there was women posting about using their tits to unlock their phone.
Oh, that'd be really
So
good
it's
the
like,
first time at home.
check the incentive, and they're like, "Hey, look at this."
You didn't hear the 7 words earlier, did you?
Yeah.
That's all right.
Nursing her galaxy.
They just want it
Now
to
that's
be.
a smartphone.
That's a smart. Oh,
They just want it to be very secure.
Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely, you wouldn't think that. Yeah.
So we might have used some unusual part of his anatomy.
That
is
is true.
all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Could unlock it with a butt cheek. And the
Did
cops
not want
wouldn't know
his
that.
girlfriend to get in the phone. Did not want any nosy cops.
There,
Even
there you
beyond
go.
the grave was like, no, F you.
Yeah.
No one's getting into my phone. This is my fortress of solitude.
Exactly. Yeah. You
Come
know,
at
you
me,
gotta be
bro.
careful. Yeah.
It'd be wrong using a digit if it was an analog phone anyway.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
See, I really think it was just a flip phone. They couldn't figure out how to get it open.
Yeah.
See, that would be
we
true
are
security.
talking about Florida.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, they just kind of
Earl-
wiggle it
Earl,
around.
do you get it?
Throw it up against stuff. It's not opening.
They're
Moving
like
on.
Siri.
That's
I understand you thought it was funny. You saw Dead Man and you were like, ha ha ha.
well, yeah.
Pharaoh
That's
Blast.
because I'm weird.
Me too.
Thank you.
Me
I'm
too.
sick and twisted.
Me too. I am too.
Awesome.
That's why I'm trying hard. I'm trying hard to be a normie right now.
A normie.
Put on my normie clothes.
Slide you
Norm-
that.
Those
Normie
normies. Yeah. Postal
God damn
worker.
it! You blew my cover again. It's my real name.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. A postal worker who prosecutors say hoarded away more than 17,000 pieces of undelivered mail in New York City allegedly told investigators he was overwhelmed by the amount of mail he had to deliver. But officials say Alexei Germash, they couldn't get any mail because they couldn't figure out the name. Alexei Germash told them he, quote, made sure to deliver the important mail. Germash, Germash, that's be Germish maybe, I don't know.
Smith.
Anyway, yeah, Bob Smith was charged Thursday in Brooklyn with delaying or detaining mail. He declined to comment as he left the federal courthouse. Federal officials say they arrested the 16-year employee after receiving a tip about a car owned by Germash Smith that contained 20 full mail bags.
That could be a giveaway.
Yep. Authorities say they found 10,000 pieces of mail in his car, 6,000 pieces in his apartment, and 1,000 pieces in his work locker. Yeah. I paused there just to get
Yeah.
1,000 pieces in what? His work locker, which he's not very good at hiding mail.
Well, I'd like to point out that it wasn't a customer who complained. It wasn't a recipient. And he's like, I only sent the important mail. And how much real mail does anyone actually receive these days?
That's true. We just got a message on the chat feature here on the radio station. Somebody listening wrote in Newman.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
He
Yes,
might. I
could
would say
see
maybe
that.
he's a hero. Maybe he is a hero, just
Yeah.
hoarding all that direct mail that
Yeah,
nobody
I mean,
wants.
He's trying to force people into the digital age.
Yeah,
And he said he'd deliver the important stuff, so I'd really like somebody to go through my
I
mail
would-
and
I
take
would
all
too.
the crap
I-
out.
He's
Oh,
like-
money's the root of all evil. He doesn't need this.
Something
money
fun
going-
happened when I checked my mail this morning. There was a hornet in my mailbox right outside my house. I reached in, I was like, "Nah!" There was a hornet in there with my mail. I don't know. I don't remember ordering it. That's the problem.
Maybe they can't afford
Yeah.
drones right now. They're just using hornets.
Hornet mail.
Amazon's trying hoarding mail right now.
Yep, that's yeah. This guy was hoarding mail. I'm getting hornet mail.
Hornet party. No, there would be a. Wonder what the prison term for that is. Hornet.
Moving on. Things were out of odor. Well, that's so dumb. Things were out of odor at a university library in Melbourne, Australia on Saturday afternoon with fears of a gas leak. But the smell that aroused suspicions was no leaky pipe. It was a notoriously stinky fruit. Around 500 students and staffers were evacuated.
I think the other word.
He is nailing it. Wow.
Well, no wonder that fruit's so sticky.
And you can buy the domain name
Quick,
evacuated.com.
Batman.
When a boy fruit is a girl fruit.
Around 500 students and staffers were ejaculating. Sorry. Evacuated.
Everybody come. Sounds like a great time. I'm ready for school, baby.
Where's this store
Let's go
at?
on to the next
Where's
story.
this store at? That's what I want to know.
Apparently, Melbourne, Australia.
Come on, mate.
Around 500 students and staffers were evacuated from RMIT University Library so that 40 firefighters, including masked crews, I'm not sure who that is, must be Tom's brother, could investigate the source of the smell, according to the Herald Sun.
Oh,
The
Jesus?
culprit, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the culprit was a durian left rotting in a cupboard. Melbourne's Metropolitan Fire Brigade said in a news release, this sort of fruit-driven flight would surprise few who have come into contact with the durian, a native of Southeast Asia with an odor that has been compared to, and I quote, turpentine and onions garnished with a gym sock, hot poop garbage, and gasoline. So apparently there's a fruit out there that you can eat that is described as hot poop garbage, which is
The favorite fruit of the wombat, as we all know.
that's cubic poop garbage
Wow.
or hot poop cubes. So,
This tastes like crap. People will buy it.
yeah, exactly. It's what are we going to call it? The DeLorean?
It's
Nope, that's
Austra-
taken.
Take 2 or 3 of those and make a bolo.
It's Australian for fruit.
Hot poop garbage. Australian for fruit.
Oh,
That's what I was going for.
I was going, no, never mind.
Go ahead.
Let's go ejaculate by the Barbie night.
Oh. Phew.
Tommy can't
Okay.
get down.
I just picture it's going to be added to some Australian mom's like repertoire now of like, you better clean out your locker. Or you might have the whole school
Find
might
hot
be
poop
evacuated.
garbage in there.
Hot poop garbage.
Eat your whole dinner. You're not going to get dessert. Just whatever.
Do you clean your room? Yeah, Mom, I cleaned my room. Then why does it smell like hot poop garbage?
God,
Yeah.
an Australian band.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, be sure to visit
It probably,
hotpoopgarbage.com.
and that's probably what he named. That's probably the origin story of, the kid's Australian band. He grew up.
Yep.
And he's like, welcome to the stage. Hot poop garbage.
We have a bit of a feces fascination today in the show.
It's a baby's diaper covered in curry. Sorry, Anchorman reference.
All right. Well, thanks for killing that one, Jess.
Let me the first time.
I always love when I do that. When I say something that I think is just hysterical and the whole room
Dead.
goes silent.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to
it's
see your
wonderful.
show now that you said that you can. You're basically not saying anything that you can normally say.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's not even.
Yeah, this is you being clean? Holy crap.
Yeah, this is real clean.
I think that's what she was trying to say, Jess.
I take it as a compliment. Thank you.
Oh, we'll do. Hey, we got another Florida story coming up. I wonder if
Perfect.
this is somebody else that's dead.
Beautiful.
Last one was such a hit.
Probably.
Yep. The last one was great. Authorities in Florida have arrested 3 people in connection with a brazen panty pilfering scheme that allegedly stole thousands of dollars worth of women's unmentionables. According to the Tallahassee, I'm back at it. According to the Tallahassee Police Department, Kenesha Jackson, I had no problem with that, 29 years old, and her fiance, Kobe Richardson's 47. That's quite an age difference right there. So that's
Good for him.
Yeah. Are former employees of a logistics company that packages and ships Victoria's Secret products. Beginning in November 2017, customers who'd purchased panties online from Victoria's Secret began complaining that their shipments were overdue. An internal investigation was launched in March. It was allegedly discovered that Jerisa Fry, a 25-year-old friend of Jackson and Richardson, was selling new Victoria's Secret underwear online. Photos posted by Fry show that the merchandise being offered for sale was in the same barcoded bags used by the logistics company to track items prior to shipment. The trail of plundered panties further pointed to Jackson and Richardson, police said, when it was discovered they'd been assigned to prepare the majority of the missing items for shipment. Brilliant crooks.
Yeah, that's
Let's
not
just
very
use the
smart.
same. Let's
That's
just use
not
the same.
smart.
We got to keep track of it somehow. Let's just use the same barcode. They made it really simple.
Yeah, let's just keep it brief.
Keep it brief. There you go. There you go.
Da, da, da.
I like it.
Well, Holly is the queen of puns, so yeah, keep it queen.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
No.
Yeah, you didn't get your shipments either, did you?
No,
Yeah.
no, that's what I'm saying. I got nothing.
Yep, I got nothing.
I got
I'm
no
free
pin.
balling it over.
I'm pretty much, as they call, commando right now. I'm commando,
Yeah, yeah.
flapping in the wind.
Yeah.
That's where the answer is. Nothing in the wind.
Good call. That's. Oh, I'd love having you on the show, Holly.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, that's why you're such a great fit for the show.
Extremely comfort
So,
fit. Yeah.
so much for informative.
Was Holly or Adrian, were you missing shipments?
No, because I'm poor and haven't bought undergarments in a very long time. That's the
All
benefit of having everything covered up. My it's a real mess under here.
All right. Well, that's the things we're learning today. Now we're back to informative.
Full circle.
Yeah. It's an important show. This is the most important show that is on this station between noon and 2 on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
Yes.
Wow.
And soon to be the most important show on this station from 7 to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays.
Wow.
For reals.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool beans.
That's real talk right there.
Yeah.
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 Just don't call it that.
Right? No. It's the life. I mean, that's the life.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get serious and informative, and sometimes you get cubic poop. That's really that's really the gist of it. Sometimes the life is nothing but cubic poop.
Oh, that's pretty deep.
It can be. Depends on.
Yeah, depends how many wombats you got in the room.
Yeah, sometimes cubic
How
poop
many
goes
wombats
really
does it
deep.
take to make a cubic yard of cubic poop?
We will have to have those answers next week.
Oh.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We will have the answer to how many wombats you're going to need to make a plug. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
to ask. This is a free-for-all show. You just shout stuff out.
Just want to remind everyone that Legends Comedy presents a Ray Morrison production Wednesday, May 2nd, showtime at 9 p.m. at Legends. That'll be the 9th as well, and the 23rd. I was going to perform on the 23rd, but my wife's going out of town, so I'm out of I'm out of a job.
I'm glad you said that. Good,
But yeah.
congratulations on that, because I'm doing the 23rd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I forgot all about it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Legends.
Take care.
Yes, thank you.
Also, check out the Womedy podcast. It's comedy, but with a W.
Yeah, where can we find that at? Just anywhere? Just any podcast?
Yeah, you
thing?
can. If you go to your podcasting app and you go to the little search bar, just type in Womedy podcast. Again, it's just like comedy, but with a W at the beginning of it.
It's so playful and
It's
fun.
really good. It's very
I
good.
like your delivery.
Yeah, I've listened to a couple of them. I haven't been able to listen to all of them.
I mean, there's
because
only
of,
really a
time
couple of
schedule.
them so far. So
Yeah. So
That's
that's I've
90%.
listened to all of them then.
Yeah.
We'll stick with that.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any comedy shows coming up?
yes, I don't remember the details right now off the top of my. I think it's the 20th of May. It's in the Columbus area, a beer place, something beer. But you can check me out
All
on
we need to
social
know,
media
yeah.
at A Miller Comedy on Instagram and on Facebook, and all
All right.
details on there.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in, guys. Always a pleasure to have
Thank you.
every one of you. Every one of you are
always
just yeah.
That was
it
great.
Would not have been a good show if it was just me. So,
Oh, it
I
is
doubt that.
interesting.
well, I'd be talking to myself more than usual. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, next week, if you want to catch us live, we'll be on Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. There will be a repeat show if all goes smoothly with the radio technology. We will be back on as a rebroadcast of Tuesday's show on Wednesdays from noon to 2 at the usual time. So I threw too many numbers at Holly. Well, you're wearing that little, you're wearing a little
visor.
It was under advisement.
You're wearing like one of those accountant hats. So I was kind of thinking you'd be all right with it, but I stand corrected. All right.
You know way better than that.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next week and all that. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Life Radio Show podcast. Check us out on the Eventide Entertainment Podcast Network or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, if you want to listen live, we're on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM with a repeat broadcast on Wednesdays from noon to 2, or you can always stream the show live at wwsu1069.org. If you have suggestions or comments, feel free to email thelife1069@gmail.com.
We don't want to be associated with that.